Bro, what is happening at Game Freak? The Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Ranked Battle Regulation J has been revealed to restricted Pokemon, including Mythicals, and it starts September 1st, 2025. After Pokemon Worlds, you are now forced to be in a Mythical format, and I haven't even thought about the competitive of this because Mythicals are casual. This is not supposed to have like any competitive thought because, okay, we have Shadow Rider Calyrex just in regular GS Cup now. Is only Arceus viable for doubles outside that? No one knows. It would be an interesting competitive mix-up, but the problem is VGC is more dead than it's ever been, and everyone is a cheater like Wolf Flick, so there's nothing interesting or compelling about it. Really, all that happens is the massive advantage from GS Cup or restricted Pokemon rules just gets bigger for the players that are cheating, and that's all the cheaters, which is why VGC is dead. And then there's just crazy things happening outside of that. Cybertron, who works for Pokemon, is surprised by this. Lamau, what? And we do have Cerebi note, ranked battles will be Regulation J, VGC is Regulation H until November. But wait a second, we already had this issue, flashbang warning, earlier on in the season because Regulation G ended April 30th. The rules didn't update to say like the new regulation was going to be available because now we're actually going to be in GS Cup rules, but we had a regionals that weekend, so you actually couldn't practice Regulation I on the battle stadium for the upcoming regionals because nothing had updated and the rules didn't give any kind of grace period. But now there's a desync and the rules haven't updated, but also we don't have a new generation coming out. So normally it's like, yeah, the new generation catches this, we restart competitive Pokemon. So because we're stuck a year until Generation 10 because of ZA, and who even knows what this means for ZA and whatever else is going on, like Pokemon Champions, that's 2026. So what does that even mean? Like there's going to be a couple of regional events on Regulation J that give you championship points for the next year, and then we go into like whatever's happening with Pokemon Champions? If that just becomes the main competitive game, are we waiting for Gen 10? I don't know. And the whole thing about like mythical Pokemon not being made or balanced for competitive is really weird because GS Cup has been a thing forever. And then GS Cup rules started coming in, and then the legendaries got more overtuned and crazier and less competitive. But that's now like a thing of VGC, and VGC started getting bigger and taken more seriously, and then actually got a lot more support from the Pokemon Company. So I don't even know what's happening with any of this, but if you want to play competitive Pokemon, you're just forced into the mythical cheat fest. And that's actually where accessibility issues kind of become a problem for the first time, because normally, yeah, it doesn't matter if you can't get a mythical Pokemon because the last event was 5 years ago, since it's just purely casual. Like, you're not even going to use it in ranked, you're not going to have any serious Pokemon battles with it. But now that's the only thing that's available until 2026. So you have to play, like, you have to play 6 months of this, or you just don't play Pokemon. In which case, wow, what a gamble, Game Freak. What a play to completely destroy your competitive player base for 6 months as the lead up to the big competitive game everyone is supposed to be getting into, while VGC is the most dead it's ever been. That if it wasn't all cheaters and people like Wolf Flick and all the top players were banned and there was actually like storylines and interesting things going on, this could be compelling because, oh, first time mythical VGC and you're playing for thousands of dollars in prize money. Like now you have to adapt. You have to be a part of this. And then we can see what happens from there. But no, VGC is dead. This is going to make even less people care about it. And that's going into competitive Pokemon game. We're going to have less people than ever caring about it. And that could get really confusing as well. The average casual and Timmy, they're not informed. They don't know how any of this stuff works. They're going to think like, well, why would I want to play Pokemon Champions when everyone's just going to be bringing Arceus and Darkrai all the time? Half of the Nintendo community is so stupid they think game key cards need an always online connection and you don't own them. Even though that it couldn't be further from the truth. So like this is going to be very confused on the marketing and promotion. We have Pokemon Worlds like in 2 weeks. So who even knows about those announcements as well? That yeah, we need more Pokemon Champion stuff. Waiting 3 weeks to get a release date would be really weird, but you kind of have to do it then at your World Championship event. Pokemon Legends ZA trailer, we need more mega reveals as well, because that's actually going to impact Pokemon Champions. Is Worlds where we get a bigger reveal about the regulation and like some upcoming regionals or something, or the change to the VGC rules? Because yeah, people are cooking. Prankster, Gravity, Meowstic. I prefer Sableye next to Darkrai. Yeah. Serene Grace. This is some Fan Friday stuff. Skill swap Serene Grace. So VGC players are already planning for this, even though we have like the rules not being updated and the weird desync, and that's again why Cybertron is reacting to it as well. So yeah, Dark Void's back. Oh, so we had to like remove it from Smeargle because Dark Void becomes the only thing that matters in VGC when it's available. And now you can still kind of play it, and the gravity strats are weird. And then the reactions. They've lost plot. Regulation I is already the same. Baker's dozens with a little variation. And then Regulation J just seeks to reduce the number. It's Calyrex and Arceus versus Darkrai gimmick. That's going to be it. Did bro just forget this happened in Sword and Shield? Except it didn't happen for VGC, and that was when we had a new game, a new generation to buffer that into. Pokemon Legends ZA doesn't have competitive. And then the brain rot losers of the Pokemon community, they just want content out of it, not caring about everyone being a cheater, including Cybertron, Wolfglick, all the top players. Only for in-game ladder. One, if you want to play ranked doubles. That's the thing, like, you can't even practice the other regulation if it's still Regulation I for into 2026. Because there's going to be, like, a couple of intermediate regionals. We have that in between, like, games and generations and new, series and seasons for VGC, which makes it even weirder. And then that gets into really weird situations because the 2020 Championship Series also had regionals that happened in 2019 after Worlds. So from Worlds 2019, we go into Atlantic City. Well, Sword and Shield isn't out. We're playing Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. It's still the Ultra Series, so we have GS Cup rules, which is going to be as detached as it gets from a start of new generation rule set. We're just going to be Pokemon native to that dex. And there's even some really weird things that happen where San Diego is played on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, even though Sword and Shield is out. So you're either like playing for championship points for Sword and Shield before the game is released, or while the game is already released in a completely different format. So the weirdness has happened in the past, and if any regionals get announced for December, there's actually like some mythical ones. And then, yeah, January, February, what if Pokemon Champions comes out in March? What if it takes a couple months to even like transition Pokemon Champions into the regional events? Is that even going to happen mid-season? We're going to see so many crazy shifts, like it doesn't make any sense. And that's because like ZA ruins everything, but does this mean ZA has multiplayer? Because if it doesn't, and it's like Pokemon Legends Arceus, there's just no Pokemon to play until Champions comes out. Unless you want to be stuck against Arceus, Darkrai, and Calyrex. Yay, Pokemon's fun. I don't even know what's going on with the Pokemon Company and competitive Pokemon. No one wants to play Pokemon because of all the cheaters. Pokemon Champions isn't going to fix that by banning cheaters going into it, and with Pokemon Home connectivity, they're still going to have advantages. And now no one wants to play Mythical Extra, so like, yeah, how do we get interest in Pokemon going into like this big thing that needs to revive and then bring Pokemon back to its glory like we saw in Generation 6? None of the actions and decisions and announcements and anything from the Pokemon Company actually like shows they're trying to care about any of it. I don't get it. And then we're just stuck with Legends ZA, which is the worst ARPG in the last decade. Another one of those videos. I can't say. Hope you guys enjoy it. Hope you all have a nice day. Just thanks for watching. Pokemon's doomed.